Hello, my friends of the Socialist Brotherhood. I have a confession to make. I like the couple in my romance to kiss. Like, I do not need them to actually go the whole 9 yards on page or screen.
That's a little bit more information than I needed.
But I do like to have it implied that they do. I want that physical draw.
Se apoyas en mí y se me pone dura. Es matemático.
So I have not seen one single bromance drama in my life ever. Yet they're so popular. They have fans in the billions and many BL fans among them. And that is interesting because due to the Chinese censorship, they lack almost all of the traditional goalposts with which the reader or viewer is being shown how much the relationship has deepened. The touches that last longer than they should. Someone serenades someone, a dance, a kiss, and when we're being lucky, a makeout scene, and in some cases, another, and another. However, I think that these heavily censored Chinese bromances are not beloved by romance fans, not despite not being able to have their leads kiss, but because of it. And I want to explain why that is by using a sequence of scenes from the Untamed, the bromance of all bromances. And I know that the book the show is based on was not a bromance, everything but I think it will nevertheless prove my point. If not, I guess you tell me in the comments. We're in episode 6. Lan Wangji, despite himself, has gotten drunk. His headband is in disarray. Weiwuxian wants to fix it, but Lan Wangji stops him and says,
木偶乃重要之物，非父母妻儿，岂能触碰？
That is the setup.
妻子啊！
Later on, when both of them are lost in a dangerous cave, to keep them from harm and not getting lost, Lan Wangji does this. That's the payoff. Now, why is the headband so great? Well, it does a lot of wonderful different things at the same time. All the things we want in a good story, especially a good love story. First off, the headband is world building. It puts furniture in your dollhouse, color on the white page of your world. It gives meaning to things, it gives you rules your characters live by, and thus a glimpse into their values and who they are. For example, if the headband rule was not a general thing, but something that is specific to Lan Wangji's clan or family, this gives you great insight into his character, the circumstances he grew up in, characterized by rules, a strict segregation of people who are family or not, close or not. And since this is a rule that pertains to relationships, it is at the same time masterfully used to signal the stages of romantic escalation I mentioned earlier. He's ready to break the rule he so adamantly enforced earlier, which could mean that he might already view Weiwuxian as a significant other in a way, meaning the relationship has deepened. And even if it was only out of convenience because nothing else was at hand to keep them safe, it still tells you about his character and the change he's undergoing. A man who's so stern and abides by the rules is ready to break one to keep his man out of trouble. And now imagine if in this scene there was no headband, that he just took Weiwuxian's hand, or that Lan Wangji lost his composure and pressed Weiwuxian into a dark alcove of the cave and kissed him, which is not bad per se, but a kiss in and of itself, an intimate scene, they don't mean much. They're a general shorthand, the most broad and the most culturally agreed upon metric for the intensity of an intimate relationship. In Western media, that is. Unless you have established that touching someone, kissing someone is a specific hurdle, a specific dream, or a specific fault of your character, a specific symbol for something else, it tells you practically nothing about your specific character. However, romance, as Billy Merritt has pointed out, is a primarily character-driven genre. The more specific, the deeper your characters, the better the romance. And I think therein lies the strength of the bromances. And that because they cannot use the general language of love to tell how much closer their leads have grown, the writers have to come up with a workaround. An individual language of love, one that is specific to their characters. And if your love story can only exist in words or hidden symbols, you have no other choice but to up your dialogue and symbolism game, which makes for way more interesting writing. And when you do this also, you will sharpen your characters and your world if you want it or not. And that makes them the better romance. Whereas so many BL shows and books, because they don't have to do this, they just don't. They skip this part. They just put in all the shorthands and call it a day. And for me as a viewer and reader who needs an emotional connection to the characters to ship them, all I end up seeing is flesh clashing with flesh. And I do not want to censor anyone or say shows should be more chaste, especially since in the past year, Danmei authors in China have been imprisoned because of the love stories they wrote, which is despicable and inhumane, but also shows you how much power these stories have. Physical intimacy, I think, is an important part of the human experience. It is a battlefield of relationships and humanity. I love that we get shows that have the freedom to explore it. I just wished that romance writers would stop relying on it so much. I wish that when they sat down to write their new story, that they would sometimes pretend, that they would try to write like they don't have it. The kiss, the hand-holding, the making out, and take time to come up with something else instead. A substitute that would enrich the characters and the world. That they would get their characters a headband, a hairpin, and endless heaps of sugar. So much so that there wouldn't even be the need for an intimate scene at all. And then they add the kiss. And tame them like wild animals until they run out of their. Thanks for watching, and if you want more deep analysis of BL and romance writing, check out my channel. I have videos on 8 cents, 4 minutes, and I made a 3-hour beast about why History 3 Trapped is so much better than Kin Porch and Lovely Writer, and how I would rewrite them. Bye!